Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ox Talks. It is Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. Hope you're having a great day today, a productive day. Thank you for being here, watching the videos. As I say on every show, I appreciate the support for the channel. I ask that each one of you please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Please like the videos, hit the thumbs up button, and the bell notification. All those things help greatly to grow the channel. Let's continue to get the word out. Some stories I'm going to share with you today. The economic climate in this country is deteriorating at a rapid pace, and we're hearing it from directly from some big wigs. So we need to pay attention to what's going on. The markets look shaky today. And, I think that the news is going to start getting around, more particularly with the market, that hopefully will digest the reality and will back off of the cheerleading for the stock market. I'll get comments, I know, saying, well, the markets have been doing great, and they have. But here's the thing. It's really, really difficult to time the markets. And for those of you that lived through the 2008 financial crisis and lost 50% of your 401ks or 50% of your stock portfolios, let me ask you this. How successful were you at timing the severe market downturn? I had a lot of friends that lost a substantial amount of their hard-earned dollars. So don't get caught up in the stock market cheerleading too much. Be very cautious. Don't have all your eggs in one basket. So let me get right into some of the stories today. The first one just came out a couple of hours ago. It's from Fox Business. Very serious. We talk about, or we've discussed Jamie Dimon before. He comes out. He's the CEO of the largest bank, I believe, in the country. And he doesn't always sugarcoat his words, and we'll get into this article in a second. But look at these guys know what's going on, and they do drop breadcrumbs. They will foretell what's going to happen, what they believe is going to happen. And the quality and the quantity of data that they receive on an hourly and daily basis is overwhelming compared to what we get. And the resources they're able to tap into at the highest levels across not only the country, but the world to formulate their warnings, if you will. So Jamie Dimon says the economy is starting to look more like the 1970s. He says, the head of one of the country's biggest banks is seemingly not convinced that the Federal Reserve can achieve a soft landing as a result of their most aggressive rate hike campaign since the 1980s. It says, during an exclusive interview on Mornings with Maria, this is today, Tuesday, J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon warned about the possibility of a looming recession while comparing the financial state to the turbulent period of 50 years ago when the nation endured a decade of high inflation. He says, quote, I look at a lot of things and forget just economic models for a second. $2 trillion of financial deficit, the infrastructure and the IRA Act, the green economy, the remilitarization of the world, the restructuring of trade. All of these things, he says, are inflationary. He told this to Maria Bartiromo. He says, and that looks a little more like the 1970s to me. I was very young in the 1970s, but I do remember lining up in gasoline lines. And I remember they allocated, depending on your license plate, whether it ended up in an even or odd number, you couldn't get gas only certain days of the week, depending on your license plate. I remember sitting in, hour-long waits with my parents when I was 5 or 6 years old in the 70s, mid-70s, to fill up the car with gasoline. So there were a lot of crises in the 70s, obviously, but one of the things, go back and do the research, was high inflation. So Dimon is hearkening back to a period 50 years ago and comparing it to today. He says the article says he detailed the recession possibility facing Americans on this morning's interview. He says it might be, listen to this, it might be a mild recession or a heavy recession. The CEO added, I think they did the right thing to raise rates. I think it was a little late, and I think they're doing the right thing just to wait and see what happens. It takes a while to see the full effect of that, but all of those factors may very well push us into recession as opposed to a soft landing. So you've heard it from the head of the largest bank in the country that we may be looking at a quote-unquote heavy recession. Forget soft landing, forget mild recession. Now Jamie Dimon is saying potentially a heavy recession. The mere fact that a guy of his stature has now opened the door using those terms should be a wake-up call for everybody. It should be a wake-up call for all of us on an individual level. Should be a wake-up call certainly for the markets. He says, I'm a skeptic. He said of rate hike expectations. Obviously, all of us in business have known how to deal with the ups and downs of vicissitudes of the economy. But I do think the cross currents are pretty high. The money is running out. Rates are high. Quantitative tightening hasn't happened yet. So warning, shot across the bow from another one from Jamie Dimon. Let's talk about layoffs in 2024. And I have mentioned in the videos that we did at the end of last year, the 3 months of last year, one of the main themes of my show starting out was try to own your own business. Try to be your own boss. Try to be able to insulate yourself from the impact or effect of your employer downsizing, either cutting your hours, reducing your pay, or God forbid, laying you off and terminating you from your position. And I've said as a business lawyer for a lot of years, I've been instrumental in helping clients to form small businesses, many of which have done extremely well, from professional businesses for doctors, CPAs, professionals like that, but also construction businesses, window cleaning businesses, any kind of contractor type business you can think of, across the array. And the point is embarking on what we're going to be just discussing here about anticipated layoffs this year in 2024. If you have the ability, number one, if you are working for somebody else right now and not yourself, if you have the ability to implement a strategy to start your own business, so how about even having a side hustle, a way to generate an income stream outside of the paycheck that you get from your 9 to 5. And maybe you can even slowly transition to make your own business and your own venture your 9 to 5 job. Let me discuss this article. And actually, what led me to this, it was a survey that was done by Resume Builder back, I guess, in early December of last year, or mid-December of last year. But there's an article on Zero Hedge today by Michael Snyder that referenced this survey. Rather than repeating his article, I just pulled up the actual survey and the article from Resume Builder. And what this says is 4 in 10 companies anticipate layoffs in 2024. As suspicion of a recession in 2024 mounts, workers fear for their job security. It says, to find out how many companies believe layoffs are likely next year, this is in December of last month, ResumeBuilder.com surveyed 906 businesses, leaders at organizations with over 10 employees. And it says for 2024, listen to these statistics, or these data points from this survey. For 2024, 38% of business leaders surveyed say they think layoffs are likely at their organization. Of this group, 22% say 30% or more of the workforce may be let go. That's 1 in 3 jobs. Additionally, 52% say their company is likely to implement a hiring freeze in 2024. Business leaders at mid-sized companies, 101 between 101 employees and 1,000 employees are most likely to believe that they will have layoffs. That's 42%. In small companies with 100 or fewer employees, 28% says of business leaders believe their organizations will have layoffs. At large companies over 1,000 employees, 39% believe they will have layoffs. And it says business leaders from industries that were surveyed with at least 50 respondents say layoffs are likely at the following rates. It goes through some industries and gives a percentage. Let me read the list, because if your job is in one of these industries, does this mean it's going to happen? No. But look, you should have your antenna up. You should be paying attention to what's going on at the climate within your organization. Sometimes it's very, very difficult to get that kind of intel before you get your walking papers. But here's what the survey says. Construction, 66%. This is the rate of layoffs at these areas of employment. Construction, 66%. Software, 65%. Information, 44%. Retail, 44%. Finance and insurance, 38%. Education, 34%. And healthcare and social assistance, 28%. As according to business leaders, layoffs are likely next year due to a need to reduce costs. That's 69% of those surveys said that's what would fuel the need for the layoffs. Anticipation of upcoming recession, 51% of those surveyed. So the layoffs would be in anticipation of the recession, meaning the slowdown that we're seeing unfold now. Desire to increase profits, 42%. We've talked about this. A company's goal is not to give you a job. A company's goal is to maximize profit for its shareholders. So when they talk about increasing profits, they try to increase profits by reducing headcount. You would think that's kind of counterintuitive, because if you have less people working for you, less people producing for you, how is that going to increase profits? But, that's the formula a lot of these companies use. And, for example, the stock market will go up when news comes out that a company is firing a bunch of people. The stock will go up. Why is that? Because the shareholders believe that the company will then have more revenues and they will have more cash reserves. And then, of course, replacing workers with AI, artificial intelligence, 39%. So I thought that was interesting, although it talks about a survey that was done about 3 weeks ago. I hadn't seen it back then, so I wanted to share it with you because it deals with now current events in 2024. The last story I'll share today is from Freight Waves, posted today. This is another trucking company is going belly up, has now sought, this is Chapter 7 bankruptcy protection. That's not reorganization. Chapter 7 is liquidation. This is a California-based third-party logistics company which had 34 power units and 33 drivers. Files for bankruptcy liquidation on Thursday. It says Wise Choice Transportation Corporation, headquartered in Hayward, California, filed its petition in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Northern District of California. It says, founded in 2009, the company offered final mile, less than truckload, and full truckload services in the San Francisco Bay Area. Wise Choice also provided warehouse and fulfillment services before shuttering its operations. Wise Choice listed its assets and liabilities as between $1 million and $10 million, according to the bankruptcy petition. It stated that it has up to 49 creditors and maintains that no funds will be available for unsecured creditors once it pays its administrative fees. Eric Crespo is listed as the CEO of the trucking firm. He has also filed for a personal bankruptcy protection according to the petition. It says Wise Choice had posted gross revenues of around $3.6 million in 2023, a drop of around $600,000 compared to its revenues of $4.2 million in 2022. So again, further evidence of the economic decline, the trouble that a lot of these companies are in. The trucking companies are getting hit especially hard because there's just less freight being shipped. There are less truckloads. And there's less need for warehousing of all this merchandise. So another casualty that we see here for the beginning of the year. Those are the three articles I wanted to share with you today that I thought were important. I'll address real briefly so I don't go too long. Last night, or actually over the weekend, I had taken some steps talking about some of the prep stuff. If you do not have a landline, or if you do have a landline, if the cell phone service goes down, if your cellular tower, or you can't make a call from your cell phone or have communication, if your landline goes down, most people now don't even have landlines anymore. How are you going to communicate with people to get information? If there is an event in your area that precludes you from going outside and getting this information, jumping in your car and driving down the street. A lot of people in the prepping community or preparedness community look to the ham radio. Ham radio operators operate, they are able to communicate with each other off of those type of systems. And it's something that you might want to consider. I can do a whole show on that. Years and years ago, I went and got my ham operator's license, so I was able to broadcast through the ham radio network and on the various frequencies. It's a very, very in-depth topic. But I did work on that system over the weekend. Last night, we have a local call-in here on Monday evenings for the local ham network. You're able to call in to basically just check your equipment, make sure everything is working, make sure you're getting a clear signal. You can get a clear signal out, and you'll clearly be able to hear others communicating. It's nice. It's a peace of mind to know that you have an alternative way to communicate if something happens. If there's a grid down situation or like a major earthquake or something like that. So that's something I implement. Again, I'll deal with it if it interests any of you in a separate show or a separate video. Guys, keep your workouts in. I'm already down a few pounds of my holiday weight just over the last few days. You'd be amazed when you start getting the water intake in. You start cutting out some of the little snack items that you don't need on a daily basis that kind of creep into your routine over the holidays. Just doing a few things like that, maybe walking an extra 20 minutes a day, it'll have immediate benefits for you. And what happens when you see those benefits, it will start to build your confidence to keep taking those next steps. So I'll keep harping on the physical fitness, get your steps in today, get your water in, try to do some strength training if you can, almost every day. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, thanks everyone for the support for the channel, and I'll talk to all of you tomorrow.